Welcome back to the channel. Today we are working on getting this rack and pinion installed. It is still causing a bunch of issues. I got the right U-joint in, both of the mounts made for the bottom pieces. I'm having to clear a little hole in there for the shaft to go through. I also got a piece made right here to fill in the factory hole. Looks like somebody attached a tow hook right in that hole in some mud or something, had to pull it out. We'll get that steering rack mounted in there with those mounts I made. We're gonna run like a bar in between for some extra support. But by the end of this video, we're gonna have that steering rack in there good and maybe even get it painted. So here we go. She's tacked in there. I'm gonna lay some beads around it and hopefully it comes out looking better than it did. I'm not a professional welder, but I can weld. I'm a good grinder though. Bring out the grinder and see how it turns out. All right, so we got it filled. It looks pretty good. There's a little bit of a gap in between like where the welds are. Zoom in on that. Yeah, zoom in, brother. So there's a little bit of a streak going around. So I'm gonna put like a real thin layer of weld on it. All right, guys, we got the rack sitting where it needs to. So I'm gonna get in there and weld the two L brackets in. We're just gonna tack them in and make sure everything's still good. How you feeling?
Constipated.
Got it mounted in there. I got a couple tack welds on it. But as you can see, we shifted over the rack just a little bit towards the passenger side. So this isn't quite centered. And that'll bother me till the end of the time if I don't change it now. So I'm gonna take the rack out and then I'm gonna cut that tack weld out there and then we'll move that mount over just a little bit. All right, it doesn't look a whole lot different from camera, but that is centered a lot better. So we're gonna take the rack back off and then I'm gonna run nice beads around this angle iron.
How'd it turn out?
Not bad for a rookie.
Come on, just laying dimes, dude.
Those aren't exactly dimes, but... All right, so we got one piece tacked in there. I got the other piece set up. Keep zooming on that, brother. I'm pretty proud of that. Took me a little grinding, a little bit of cutting.
Looks pretty good.
Don't look at the welds yet. Actually, don't ever look at the welds. They're probably never gonna look great. They'll just be there.
Everyone's an expert critic, though.
Yeah. All right, so look in here. I'll just show them in here. Look how good those little pieces look. They're all, I mean, don't look at the welds, but as far as the fabrication wise, man, they look good. Until you see this piece, that's where the rack mounts to that angle iron, and this piece comes down, and sure enough, that piece goes right into that little nice bar that I put in there. Right there. So, I'm about to cut it back out. At least I can leave the other side, but I'm gonna cut that one back out, and then I'm just gonna double up the weld on the underside. And we're just gonna send it that way and hopefully it doesn't break. All right, guys, we got the rack back in. I had to take my little bar out and it is sitting in there the way it's supposed to be. I got my shafts all in there. They're sitting at the lengths they need to be down here. Now the problem is Motion Raceworks sends these a little bit long so you can trim them to fit. So as you can see, we have this length here. It's actually 4 7/8 inches too long right here. This little bushing right here goes right up against the backside of this coupler. So I'm gonna cut 4 7/8 of an inch off of the rod in here, so then that steering wheel will be all the way flush against that bushing. We're gonna pull that out, cut that off, and we should be good to go to start welding those U-joints in. All right, guys, I'm finally at a point where the rack is all in there, the shafts are the length that they need to be, the steering column's right. I'm gonna set the motor in here, and then that's gonna lower the engine down. In turn, it'll put these tie rods at a different angle, and as you can see, I need to clear out some of this frame so the tie rod boots don't hit, and then this thing will be ready for paint, so I can just paint over all those mediocre welds I just did. All right, guys, the engine is in. The tie rods are sitting about where they need to be. So it did move that mark down a little bit, and that mark, well, I guess technically they moved them both up. So I just need to take this line up a little bit further so we can get clearance for all that. But man, look at that. You guys like my strap that's holding up the backside of the motor, otherwise it'll just fall out the back. It's only stupid if it doesn't work. But in other good news, I told you guys that I sent the turbos back and BS Racing found some issues with the turbos. So they literally just sent me 2 brand new ones. But he called me and told me that he's gonna take care of me, and he didn't even tell me he's gonna send me 2 brand new turbos, so that came in yesterday. I was pretty excited about that. I think that's gonna be the end of this week's video. I appreciate you guys watching. Like I said, I got a ton done this weekend. I'm super pumped about that, but we still are waiting on the transmission, so that kind of sucks. Hopefully I get a call this week. It'll come in the end of this week. I can put it in next weekend, and then we can make a video starting this thing up finally. But that'll be for next week's videos. Come back next week to see what I tear up. I'll see you later, guys.